Hey everybody, this is Neall from the Painted Trout Fly Shop. I'm here today to show you a little jigged micro streamer that I've had a whole bunch of luck with in Mill Creek here in Dexter. This is one that can be fished a number of different ways. I put it as my point fly on my European nymph rig, but it could very easily be fished under an indicator or even stripped like a streamer. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Today we'll be using a Fulling Mill FM5045 barbless jig hook in size 12. Sweet, sweet hook. And a 3.8 millimeter tungsten bead, slotted of course, in metallic light pink. And for a little bit more weight and to hold that bead in place, we're going to be using some 015 lead-free wire here. For thread, we'll be using 12/0 Vivus, super fine, super strong for its diameter. And for the tail, we'll be using Woolly Bugger Marabou in white. With just a little bit of crystal flash. This color is Bonefish Pink, which is my favorite. For dubbing, we've got Ice Dub and UV Pearl. Doesn't have to be this, can be any really white dubbing, but this is my favorite. And for the collar, we've got Strung Chinese Saddle Hackle. Nothing fancy here. Okay, let's get started by getting the hook and bead combination mounted in the vise. This is a good time to make sure that you have the bead on there properly. The slot should be facing towards the back of the hook. One thing I like to do when working with lead-free wire is I like to put it on a bobbin. It makes it easier to work with and makes for less waste. Start with a small tag of wire on the rear side of the hook and wrap the opposite way that you would wrap your thread. We're looking for about 10 to 11 wraps of wire here. Once you're done wrapping, use your thumbnail to break the bobbin off. Then slide the wraps of wire up into the bead. Make sure to clean up that tag end as best you can before attaching the thread immediately behind the coiled wire. Dress the shank of the hook all the way down to the bend, and make sure to cover the wire wraps with some thread also. Strip a clump of marabou free from the shaft and fashion a tail about 3 times the length of the hook shank. I tend to tie these tails a little bit on the long side, and if I'm on the water and feel like I'm having problems with short strikes, I can just use my nippers to trim it down. Tie in your marabou tail so that the butt ends of the feathers are right behind the wraps of lead-free wire. Once you have your tail tied in, grab a 6-inch piece of crystal flash by its midpoint and tie it in on the near side of the hook. Once you have it tied back, wrap the other half over to the far side of the hook and secure it. This will give you 1 strand of crystal flash on either side of the fly. At this point, go ahead and trim the strands of crystal flash to about the same length as the tail. A neat trick I learned somewhere is to cut the corner off the bag of your dubbing. It really makes it easy to get out nice, small, and controlled amounts of it. Make about a 2-inch long dubbing noodle and wrap a body up the shank of the hook and stop right where the wire wraps start. At this point, grab a saddle feather and make a small triangular tie-in point somewhere near the tip. Once again, using the wire wraps as a reference point, tie in the saddle feather and trim off the excess butt section. To form the collar, you're going to take 3 to 4 wraps forward toward the bead, depending on how thick the feather is. And you kind of want to preen the feathers back as you wrap forward. Once you feel like it's thick enough, go ahead and tie off the feather. From here, I like to take a few thread wraps while holding the fibers back just to get them to lean back just a little bit. And just to finish things off a little bit and make things look a little bit neater, we'll take a dubbing noodle that's about half the size of the one that you used before and form just a little bit of a collar. Once you've done this, you can do 2 4 to 5 turn whip finishes and then cut your thread free. And last but not least, we are going to put 1 drop of Loon Flow UV Cure resin in the slot of the bead. And it's nice I can clean it up here because it is UV Cure. Put a little too much on, and then hit it with the light, and we are all done. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.